Hey, everybody out there. Welcome to another edition of New York State Music in Motion. I'm your host, Frank Palangi. Today, we're sponsored by the Friendly Helping Salve, which is basically a natural hemp seed oil, good for topicals and pain treatments. Head over to nysmusic.com, all right? New York State Music in Motion. Shout out to Cat Audio, one of my endorsers, and Dirtbag Clothing for hooking me up with these sweet headphones. So today, we got Charley Orlando. Okay, we're both in upstate New York. We got Syracuse, New York, somewhere in there. He's a musician and a booker. He does live bookings at a venue. And I get like a storyteller, Bob Dylan-ish, soulful kind of vibe going on. So we'll see here. What's going on, Charley?
Hey, Frank, how you doing, man?
What's going on? How would you describe your style of music?
Varied.
Varied. Okay.
Yeah.
Was I right on any of those that I hit, or?
Well, I mean, currently the stuff that I'm releasing, kind of really due to the whole pandemic, is all solo stuff.
Okay.
So, it's kind of hard to get in a studio with a drummer right now, although I have been working some stuff out with one of my old bandmates from Dexter Grove, and we've been doing some recording online. But last couple of years, I've pretty much been concentrating on just me and my acoustic guitar.
Okay. Yeah, I saw some videos. You try to, like, one's in the woods, one's on the beach, one's, I think, was on your porch somewhere. That's cool. It's very, like, just vibe. You get the vibe going on. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, they're really the only place safe to shoot.
Yeah. Well, if you have other people and cars and stuff going by and all of that, it'd be pretty loud. How do you record the audio for those? What do you do to use those?
Part of what I do also is music production. So I pretty much give myself a proper mix down through my soundboard, kind of like I would be doing a studio recording. And I basically run that directly into the camera that I'm using. So it doesn't have a chance to have anything but my soundboard quality.
Oh, there you go. Do you use any sort of gates or anything like that when you do that, or?
No, I go all on feel. Everything's wide open. Little bit of reverb and stuff like that, but EQ, no gates or anything.
What are your influences from Americana to rock and roll, and funk, that kind of stuff?
Well, I kind of tend to be one of those. I mean, I do like older bands. Like, obviously, the Grateful Dead is probably my favorite band of all time, and Bob Dylan is probably my favorite songwriter of all time. And I say probably because there's just so much music out there. And currently, I'm listening mostly to a band called the Mother Hips. They're from San Francisco, California area.
Okay.
And I've been with those guys since 1992. So they've just always released the most amazing music, and both of the lead guys in the Mother Hips also have solo careers, and I follow their solo careers as well. So I've really been listening to a lot of their music lately. It just it makes me feel good.
Do you have a certain time period that you really enjoy, whether it's 60s, 70s, 80s, or do you draw from a little bit of everything?
I used to think that it was a drag that I wasn't born in the 60s, but now I'm glad I was born when I was, because all of the music that's going on, currently, it's just, I mean, for me, the people that I follow and the people that I know during this pandemic have just been like spitting music out left and right. And it's been awesome.
Yeah.
In that, I mean,
not much else to do, right?
Yeah. I mean, what else can you do? I also, like you were saying, I do booking. I'm a talent buyer, and that takes up a whole lot of my time. So it's been great for me. I'd have to say, in a weird way, because I've really been able to concentrate on my music again.
A little break from it. Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Not having all the artists and stuff email you all the time, phone calls, and then get back and schedules. And
artists, managers, agents, they're still all emailing, but I can't do anything about it. I don't have a job.
Yeah. Are they still open right now? Are they still serving food?
Funkin' Waffles is serving food, no music. Ray Brothers, the yard at Ray Brothers, they're serving food, no music. Middle Ages I'd already booked their season for them, so they just basically have the people that are play.
Yeah.
And they're doing it really, really spread out. It's like the band is in a loading dock, you know.
Down the road.
Buddy.
Yeah. I've been up there once. I went to Funk and Waffles. There's a record store near there, a couple places.
Oh yeah, the Armory Square area is really fun. It's jumping. Well, it used to be really hopping.
Do they have music at both locations? I know the one does for Funk and Waffles.
There's only currently one Funk and Waffles location.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
the other one shut down.
The one on the university in Syracuse got bought out by a developer.
Oh, okay.
Nothing you can do about that except
Not a bad thing.
Closed a year ago.
Okay. Yeah, I remember hearing about that one. Now I read somewhere
not out while we could because the pandemic would have made it impossible.
Yeah. So how you been handling that? You just been writing a lot and doing videos and releasing music?
I'm doing, it changed my whole entire life. Obviously, like all of the stuff that I had going on was all put on hold. I've been laid off, I'm not fired from my job. So that's been, nice to know that when it's capable of coming back, I do have a living waiting for me.
Yeah.
But, it changed everything because it's not coming back quick enough. My wife and I had to sell our house in Syracuse. We moved into a much smaller place, which we actually are kind of enjoying more than previous. And we live in an off-the-grid cabin on Lake Ontario, and I'm really not complaining about it.
Nice. How are the winters really up there?
Now.
You like winter?
No, not necessarily. No. We're going to be going other places in the wintertime to get away from the cold. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my idea for some time in the future. I have asthma, so it's like the winters are just getting worse for me.
See that be a problem.
Try to sing too. It's like icicle. So I read you were on the Grammy ballot.
Yeah, I got popped on there a bunch of times.
What songs or projects were those?
Oh wow.
Let's go back a little bit.
The first round of them, I don't remember all the songs because there was a bunch of them. I after I got out of Dexter Grove, it was like 2004, I think. And as I was leaving the band, I was recording a solo album in New York City, which was just me and my guitar, something I'd actually never done before. So I was a little nervous about it.
Yeah.
And that album is called Beauty and Pain. And it got nominated for 5 nominations. Like basically the way it works is they put you on a ballot to be nominated. And so I got on the ballot, but I didn't get to the final step where you get nominated to go and be at the Grammy. I got Roger crushed me one year. Bruce Springsteen crushed me one year. But I mean, nobody knows my name. So, I was just happy that someone up the music to put it on there.
Yeah. I heard from one of my producers, you really got to pitch. If you were going to win that, you'd have to like contact everybody and try to get them to, he's like, it's a fiasco. He goes,
it is a fiasco. And the person that I remember I can't remember who it was. It was a guy at Big Noise. The name of the company was in Providence, which I don't know if they're still around anymore, but he pitched it to me like that. He's like, I'm going to get you on the ballot. This is great music. And we're going to, who do you know? Like, who can you have vote for you? And I'm like, I don't know anybody, dude. I mean, like, I'm a touring musician or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I could vote for me, but I can't because I'm not a part of the account.
There you go. You ever thought about joining?
No. I'm not big on the word stuff. It's cool and everything, and it's an honor and all that stuff, and I don't want to diss it at all, but I do music for me. Like, it makes me feel good. It helps me get my emotions straight. It gives me a way to like turn on the valve and let the pressure out before I blow. you know?
I mean, there's something in us we have to release. I was talking to Mick Fury, and he's the same thing. He's like, after a while, I just need to write, let it out. All your frustration, whatever.
If it was about getting somewhere, I would have stopped a long time ago.
Yeah, you got to do it because you got to feel it.
Yeah, your music, it does its own journey, I think. Anyway, it's been like that for me. Like, the music goes wherever the people who like it want it to go. you know, and it's like my fans are just really chill people that they just like the music. They're not going to push it on anybody. I'm not going to push it on anybody. I'm horrible at promoting myself.
Okay.
I'm good at doing it for other people, really bad for doing it for myself. I don't like tooting my own horn.
Is it why do you think that is? Just because it's a little harder? It's the feeling?
I don't know. It's hard enough just to get up on stage and play in front of people, and then you have to tell people like how good you are. It's like, and I don't agree all the time that I'm that good.
Okay. Yeah, we all have our moments,
you know?
right?
Well, yeah. I mean, as a talent buyer, I listen to my music and think to myself, man, would I book this? You know, and in some cases, actually, the answer is no.
Have you played Cafe Lena in Saratoga?
What was that?
Have you played Cafe Lena in Saratoga?
I have never played Cafe Lena.
You fit in perfect there.
I asked to play Cafe Lena in Saratoga.
Okay, yeah, you'd fit in, right?
Yeah, I would love to play.
Nice. Yeah, look into that. That's a cool play. I thought about that, and they have all that style of music there. I played before they remodeled it, but now they don't accept any sort of rock or anything. But I was listening to your stuff, and I go, you'd fit, even acoustic, you know. For sure. Yeah. So being a talent buyer versus your own music, you know, you're saying with promotion and stuff like that. How's the promotion different for somebody that, you know, you're doing stuff? It's not your own music, it's somebody else's music. Do you have to completely understand what they're doing? You know, I'm not really I promote myself, but I've never promoted really anybody else. So, you know what I mean?
It's more of what I do is I promote a situation, and the music that is in that situation is picked specifically to promote the vibe that venue wants. You know what I mean? Okay. So it's like, it's just an ongoing thing. It changes. I don't think there's any music that is not acceptable, really. You know what I mean? It's just some things you hear and you're like, yeah, I think people around here are going to dig that. Yeah. And there's something here where you're like, I don't know, man. I got a bunch of that already.
Yeah. Too much.
Yeah. It's a really tough position to be in. I don't really like it all that much all the time, because who am I to say?
Yeah, because I figure you have the manager, you have the artist, you have the venue wanting certain things too, and sometimes they probably clash, you know.
It can. I mean, it can be really hard to deal with agents and managers and artists, but to be honest with you, 90% of the time, and probably even more than that, it's a joy. Everyone's really cool. It's the same bottom line for everybody. We all want successful shows for the bands and for the venue, because without the venue, the bands can't. Without the bands, the venue can't be there. So it's like everybody really has to join hands a lot and be like, all right, cool, get this done, kids.
Yeah. What do you think of the you know, it's came from this 80s, you know, the pay to play stuff towards the city and things. You ever done that?
I've never done the pay to play thing. I've had absolutely awful gigs in major cities where you do pay, because nobody shows up and there's a parking ticket for $80, and used to cost more to just drive into and play a gig than it was worth, you know. It took a long time to have a show there that really felt like someone was paying attention, you know.
Yeah, because you have so many people. I mean, you think, oh, you know, the city is so many people, there's, you know, 1,000 times chance that's going to sell out or something like that, but it's just, it's like Nashville. You got everybody there doing everything, you know?
Yeah, and there's unique everywhere. It's like you could be as unique as possible, but there's probably 5 other people as good as you, if not better, right down the road, you know? So you have to, I think you have to early on as a musician, figure out what your niche is and just curate it, man. Just keep going at it, because the longer you do it, the better you become at it, and the more people pay attention over time anyway. It takes your whole life, really.
Yeah, and it comes in waves too, depending on what's going on in the culture, and even the times, the seasons, like everything changes. And it's even I noticed you know, certain songs in certain areas I would stay away from even. You know what I mean? If you're doing like a cover gig and you're like, well, you know, tonight I'm not going to do a Metallica. You know, this is, you know, even though it's like you could do Nothing Else Matters. You know, you're doing an acoustic gig, not,
Right.
but it's just the fact of, you know, the metal bands or some of the harder rock stuff. So you go with, you know, 70s or you go with 80s or whatever it is. And that's area dependent and that's venue dependent and stuff like that. It's really
totally
interesting, you know? Have you ever
Yeah,
gone?
there's venues.
Oh, go ahead.
They don't hear anything but what K-Rock plays. You
Yeah.
know, and there's also venues in Syracuse where they don't want to hear anything that isn't your own.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's a lot of the. What do you think of the cover gig circuit? You know, all the cover songs and stuff as far as people playing. I've done it 3-4 hour gigs a lot.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I've done that too. Not with covers really, because I've always done my own music and I've sold myself on my own music. So I would rather not take the gig. Like there was places where when I first got to Syracuse where they would literally ask you to play 70% covers if you were going to do originals.
yeah.
And I was like, well, that's not an original gig. I play my own music.
Yeah.
Well, what cover do you? I'm like, I don't really, you know what I mean? Like the occasional Bob Dylan song or the occasional, you know, Ryan Adams perhaps, or something along those lines. But I'd rather play my own stuff.
Yeah.
So I would say no to a lot of gigs just because that's not really what I wanted to do. Playing 3 or 4 hours by yourself, first of all, is too long. Nobody wants to play that long. Nobody wants to hear it.
Yeah. Well, the average customer, I think, is there for like an hour, you know, usually. And then you get another wave. You get these waves. Yeah.
From leaving. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's true. You want people to stay, but it's a fine
and I don't
edge.
mean you in particular, I mean as the musician in that spot. Like your job is to make sure that people are enjoying themselves and don't leave.
Yeah.
You know. Or if they, you know, do leave, that the people who come in after them stay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a rotating. It's either it doesn't rotate or you got to keep them in the seats somehow. It's so interesting.
I prefer to do ticketed shows because then you know the people that are there to see it because no one's going to pay if they don't want to see the music.
Yeah. Is that why you like booking at some of the places you do, that it's not all cover stuff? They can do their originals and, you know.
I honestly use cover bands at my venues for, you know.
Like themes?
Well, themes, but also to fill things. Like the main aim when Funkin' Waffles opened up was to bring the best music to town. Okay. You know what I mean? It's necessarily about bringing the best local music to town because it's already there. And what I wanted to do is see who could draw locally, and we did, and we found out, and we find out constantly who does and who doesn't. But the main aim is to bring in, you know, Andy Frasco, you know, people like that, like people who will sell out a 200-seat room. Like that's the aim, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
And have it be great music.
Yeah. What do you think about that with great, if you find somebody that you're like, the music's great, very entertaining, but he can only bring in 5 people, what do you do? Do you expose them?
You work with it. If you really believe in the music, which has happened many, many times with what I've been doing, like you work with them. You tell them, you're like, I can help you, but you're not going to get paid for a while because if you're bringing 5 people, you know, you're going to get a % of what the door, you know, take is. And I have to be super honest with the headliner who you're going to be opening up with that you're only going to bring 5 people. And they're probably not going to want that. So then I have to layer that person with another act that brings, you know what I mean? It's like,
it's a constant. 3 artists on the bill.
Yeah, it's a shuffling around of things so that people who you really think could draw for the venue and themselves and get a career going, you know, get in there.
Yeah, I understand that. That's the whole life thing is, it's interesting. It's different than the cover gigs. But so you've been around for 30 years with it, with writing and booking and all that stuff. That's what I read. I'm using that number.
Can't tell, can you?
So here's the thing. So 30 years, quite a long time. What do you think about gear? You know, how things have changed with guitars and amps, and I see a Fender in the background. Like, what do you use for your stuff there?
Honestly, I've changed amps so many times. That little amp in the background is a 1970 Fender Champ, which I used to record with because it's just, the tone is unbelievable. But you can't play live with them unless you have serious reinforcement, because they're a 5-watt amp with a 4-inch speaker, I think it is.
Yeah, yeah.
So it really projects, but like the tone of it is amazing. I've switched around my gear a lot. I'm a total gearhead. I love pedals. Like I was saying, my style is varied. Like I like rock trios. I've had 2 rock trios that I've played in that I love. I've had a 8-piece band that I, put together to play my music that I loved. And it was like epic kind of Americana pop music, and it's like,
yeah.
So it's with what I'm doing,
currently, the vibe, the song, the band.
Yeah. Currently I'm really into I'm super into Americana music hardcore right now. Like I've always been into it. I've always kind of considered myself in that genre, but it's like, Jason Isbell, his new album has just floored me. One of the Mother Hips guys' new album it's crushing me. I listen to it every day. Jerry, his new album, which is backed up by the Drive-By Truckers, absolutely epic. And it's like, that's what I've been listening to are bands that have been around for a long time that somehow nobody knows still. Yeah. I don't get why people don't know who Gomez is. Like, blows my mind.
Maybe it has to do with genres a lot of times, especially nowadays, if it's not rap, if it's not pop, if it's not R&B, even some of the mainstream rock stuff, there's certain genres that are more popular than others, country. And it seems to me, especially in certain areas like folk music and stuff like that, I don't want to say that it's not the most radio friendly. So maybe that's why, there's not as many people. It used to be. But
yeah, it used to be pop music, like Simon and Garfunkel. You know what I mean? That
was Bob Dylan. That style.
Pop music, But those things changed because that's what people were demanding back then. That's what they bought. Like today. I mean, but then again, Bob Dylan's new album. Oh my God. You know what I mean? The guy's a freaking like a wizard from like the highest level or something. I don't even get it. He's still writing some of the best stuff I've heard so far.
Yeah. What kind of acoustic guitars do you use? What do you like?
Well, I have 2 of them right now. And one of them is my old standby. It's an old Yari Alvarez that I bought in 1996. That guitar in particular has probably played 3,000 shows.
Okay.
It's one of my favorites. I've honed it to be like for me only. Like anyone else who plays, like, oh, this is kind of weird guitar, It's like, no, it's mine.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But the one I'm using now, that I kind of recently came into, is a Martin 0015.
Okay.
Which is, I just love it. It's all mahogany, so it records really, really balanced. And as far as plugging it in live, it's probably the best acoustic sounding guitar I've ever had to just plug in.
Is the guitars with the XLR out, is that better than the 1/4 inch? I mean, guitar wise?
I think one more thing to break.
Yeah. Cause I don't really get it. I'm like, it's a different signal, it's not really.
I actually had a Gibson J30. I ended up trading Tim Herron for some things and gave it to him. He still plays it. But that guitar had an XLR out, and I did different stuff with it. Like, it ended up being cool for what I was doing. Like, I would run the XLR out direct into the board, and then I would run the 1/4 inch out through a bunch of pedals with a volume pedal, and I would turn the effects on and off, but the straight acoustic sound never disappeared. So in that respect, that's kind of cool. But it really drained the battery quick, and there was some imbalances in the polarities, and you could. I had a bunch of stuff done to it to make it work, but I don't know if it was worth it in the end.
It's kind of like a direct box, sort of, but using the 2 outs, Yeah,
it's just your own splitter, really, which is kind of neat, but it has to be made really well, or else it can pose more problems.
Yeah. What got you into sound with mixing and recording?
What got me into it? The necessity of wanting to sound good, You
want to control your own sound for your own shows and your own.
Well, I mean, that's how it started. I was playing in my dorm room, and then I was playing open mics, and then all of a sudden people were offering me gigs, and I was like, how do you do that? I don't I can't just show up with my guitar, you know, and then someone was like, oh, you need this. And someone else was like, oh, you need that. And before you knew it, like the few gigs that I got paid for a sound system, and then I had to learn how to use it. So it was all trial and error. It was awful at first, and I didn't realize what gain structure was for a little while. So I blew a bunch of stuff up. And I learned through 3 different pairs of speakers and 2 different soundboards how to do it right.
Trial and error.
Yeah, how to match the ohms up and just not be generally a dumbass.
No YouTube, right? There's no YouTube then.
Dude, when I started out, no cell phones, no YouTube, no laptops. I used to pull over and make phone calls on a gift card from gas stations. Actually got a gift. The lady was like, "Are you calling me from a gas station?" I'm like, "I am."
Wow.
Like, gig.
Got the Superman, the old phone booths going in there.
Much. It was just the old days. So much fun.
Simpler. What do you think versus digital and analog and that kind of stuff? I mean, you think it was kind of simpler? You plug in and
yeah, because it's really weird. Like back when I started touring, we had none of that stuff in the beginning, and somehow all of it worked out okay. You know, we got all our posters out on time. We got all our postcards out on time, which nobody does anymore. Yeah. You know, we had a mailing list of around 10,000 people by the time we were done, and we sent postcards to everyone for every tour. And it was how we got people to come to our shows.
Probably works better, doesn't it? I
think it works 100 times better. And it's like people have gotten so far away from it, and it's so expensive to do that.
Yeah, it'd be like $1 stamp or something now, you know?
Yeah, it's just easier to make a Facebook event and do it that.
That's
and
10 grand.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
Just even out.
I think. And it was a lot harder to get to people, but once you got to them, you had them. And these days, you get people and you don't have them. You it's a second, you know, or 3 seconds that they watch your video, or if you're lucky, a minute.
Yeah, so it's cool, man.
Super lucky, they listen to the whole thing.
Yeah. A lot of times they'll leave a comment. Maybe they'll share it or something, you know, but a lot of times it's interesting. It's like, oh yeah, cool, man, I've seen your video. But like you said, maybe they watched like a minute of it or something. But if you go,
it's also.
Oh, go ahead.
How do you explain to people that as a musician, you really need them to comment and share that, you know, without sounding like, please comment and share.
Yeah.
You know,
it's the game. Now that's another conversation. You know, that's not our fault, and that's not the fans' fault. That's the social media algorithm junk going on, and it's not even popularity.
If you know how to work it, it can work to your advantage.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I don't really agree with all of it, but I feel like if you have how many friends, you know, 2,000 Facebook friends, it should reach all of them. You're friends with them, you know.
Yep.
But
it's kind of funny too. 3,000 Facebook friends, and I bet I know 200 of them.
Yeah.
Like actually know them.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing. I've been going back and kind of getting rid of people that I've never messaged or they've never listened, or because I don't know who they are, and it's not really music career. You want to make connections. It doesn't really benefit anything. It's just somebody floating there, you know? So, and then the algorithms, you don't want them to see it.
Right. And the unfortunate part for me is, as a talent buyer, I get hit up every day on Facebook with friend requests of people. I have no idea who they are. And I'll usually see a friend request and then a request for a message saying, hey man, really love to come play one of your venues.
Yeah. I've done that. We like to add booking guys. So ending segments, anything you'd like to tell everybody? Check you out. I know on YouTube, Facebook, all those good sites.
Yep.
Bands out there, email Charley if you want to play in the future.
And you can find that email address at the given venues I book.
There you go.
Things that are coming up. I'm still in the middle of releasing my video album for my official album. That's the audio album that's coming out the end of October. We're on track 7. So that's this Friday. So it's every other Friday. And so this Friday, track 7, Pure Sunshine, is going to be released.
Oh, okay.
And it's the only video in the whole video album that's in color. All the other ones.
Okay. Oh, nice. Is that going to be on just YouTube and Facebook too?
It'll premiere on Facebook at 4:20, and then it will premiere on YouTube at 4:30.
Okay.
Eastern Standard.
If there's one
And
thing.
Then there's one more video release. And then after that, October 30th, the album Note to Self comes out on iTunes and Spotify.
Make sure you guys check that out and download it. I say stream, don't stream, download.
Yeah, download. I agree.
I'm like Yoda. Sometimes the Yoda stuff comes out. You know what I mean? I love that. They're like, what are you talking about? I'll say it backwards. But if there's one thing you could leave people with what you're about with your music, and could be an image, that kind of thing too, what would you want them to know about you?
All my music comes from emotion. It all comes from the things I see, experience, feel. It's all real to me. You know what I mean? Music is extremely, extremely real to me.
Charley Orlando, folks, New York State, Music in Motion. Check out, we're going to have more guests and episodes coming up. Season 1, you're on it right now. Charley, right here. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. I'm Frank Palangi again. Keep rocking, guys. Hey, guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like and subscribe to all of our pages, NewYorkStateMusic.com. Stream and support.